Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sanne with Kieu, German Heart, Vietnamese Soul. And today's blog will be my inner voice versus expectations of the world. I'm so grateful to have you back at my blog. Your subscription means the world to me. In order to get to know you better, here's a question for you. Do you often listen to your heart or your logical mind? Now, jumping into today's blog. Do you want to join us for a movie at the cinema? One of my friends in middle school would ask me. Before I could answer, another friend would already say, Nah, his mom won't allow it. Thomas needs to study. Everyone in my friendship circle knew about it, but did not fully comprehend why. Growing up between the German culture and the Vietnamese one was not always easy, especially during my teenager years. I felt pressure to meet expectations from both sides. It was hard to pretend to be German while fulfilling my role as a good Asian son. But one of my biggest problems was that there was no one to talk to, no one to give me advice on how to deal with the situation. Instead of learning how to handle my emotions, I kept them locked deep inside, pretending everything was alright. I got so bad that at some point I didn't even realize that not being able to feel seen and heard was a problem anymore. This psychological stress led to a lack of self-acceptance and self-love. Pleasing others and following their opinions become more important than being honest with myself. Finding myself by going to New Zealand. Only after moving to New Zealand did I rediscover my inner voice. Being in a new environment that didn't judge me was liberating. Not knowing much about New Zealand, I made a decision based on my intuition. Simple things like buying a t-shirt in Germany, which were usually linked to what would my friends think about this brand? Or will my mom scold me again for wasting my money? Became so much easier. Since I didn't know the brands, I bought what I liked. The more decisions I made for myself, the clearer I became about my own self. Every decision was a vote towards myself. Every no was a sign of setting my own boundaries. Every yes was a step closer to I wanted to be. By changing my environment, I allowed my inner child to express his feelings again. I freed myself from doubt and began to be myself. My self-discovery journey helped me understand who I was and which values I wanted to represent. After 10 months, on my flight back to Germany, I was confident that I could handle the anxiety and psychological pressure that came with the expectations. On the plane, I told myself, easy breezy, I just have to be myself, little knowing that the biggest challenge was waiting for me. Upon arriving in Germany, I was excited to tell my friends and family all about my self-discovery. Though they were happy for my transformation, it didn't feel like they understood what was going on. I also struggled to feel connected to my old friends. It turned out that not only had I changed, but my friends in Germany had also moved on in their lives. Suddenly, the gap I thought I could bridge by sharing who I was grew even wider. At home, I clashed with my family because of different mindsets and expectations on life. My inner child felt lost, not really knowing what was going on. Being back between two cultures while knowing who I was and what I wanted in life turned out to be more depressing than just following the crowd. I still remember lying in bed wondering if I should forget about my values and blend in again. Luckily, a little voice inside me fought to be heard. Part 2: How to deal with the voices inside me. Again, I left Germany, but this time for Vietnam. Once more, I could live myself, and according to my values. I felt alive again. Knowing that I struggled with my identity, I hired a life coach who shared a valuable tool to deal with the different voices inside me. The problem I had in Germany was that my expectations and beliefs were not compatible with those of my friends and family. I was unsure which voice to follow, the voice of the crowd or my own voice. I still had the habit of pleasing others to be liked, but my coach taught me that I could choose my own way while still respecting others' opinion and values. First, I had to recognize my own voice versus others' opinions. That was quite easy for me. Everything from my heart was usually my own opinion based on my values. Second, I had to understand why my family and friends had different approaches. Maybe they were worried or thought it was more beneficial to live according to their expectations. Third, I would put things into a monologue by saying, thank you, person, for pointing out that something they value is important. But today I decide to do something I want because my reasoning. A classic example was my friends and parents pushing me to study at university because they believed it was the safest way to prepare for the future. I knew deep down that I wasn't made for university and preferred to learn from people through mistakes. Whenever I had doubt again, I would think, thank you, Dad, for pointing out that an education is important for my future career. But I decided to start my own project and learn from mentors with experience in this field. In this way, I didn't feel guilty for ignoring the opinions of people I love and still managed to live according to my values. This tool helped me whenever I felt conflicted and heard different voices in my head, rooted in the belief system I grew up with. What about you? How do you deal with the psychological stress associated with dealing with expectations from different cultures? Write it in the comments below. I'm excited to learn from you. Thanks for reading to the end, and I wish you an awesome day full of kindness and positivity. See you next week for a new blog of Sanne Viet. #yêu đời.